There's a hidden truth that every high-value man understands. Respect isn't something you ask for, it's something you embody. And the coldest reality? Women don't respect your words. They respect your boundaries. They respect your backbone. They respect what you say no to more than anything you say yes to. Most men lose their girl not when they stop loving her, but when they stop commanding respect. And the reason she doesn't see you as a man anymore is because you handed her your power in a million small ways. This ends now. I'm going to give you the 5 most powerful boundaries you'll ever need. Not to control her, but to control yourself so deeply, so clearly, that she has no choice but to recalibrate how she looks at you. If you want to live like this from now on, comment below, I choose respect. Number 1. Never reward disrespect. If there's one truth every man must swallow raw and without sugar, it's this. The moment you accept disrespect, you become replaceable in her mind. It doesn't matter how much you've done, how long you've been together, or how deep you think your bond is. The very second she senses that you'll accept being belittled, ignored, challenged without reason, or subtly insulted, that you'll stay loyal while she chips away at your dignity. She stops seeing you as a man she needs to earn. She starts seeing you as a man she can use. And that truth, as painful as it may feel, is exactly where your power begins. A woman will never truly respect a man who continues to show up for her after she has violated his standards. She may tolerate him, use him, keep him around for comfort or convenience. But in her heart, she no longer looks up to him. She no longer feels inspired by him. She may say she loves him, but watch her tone, watch her eyes, watch how she speaks to him when no one else is listening. That's where the truth lives. Respect isn't in the compliments. It's in the consistency of how she speaks to you when she doesn't need to impress you. When you reward disrespect, whether it's staying silent after she mocks you, apologizing for something she did wrong, or showing up after she ghosted you for hours, you send one loud message: my self-worth depends on your attention. That's a death sentence to desire. Here's what you must understand. Women don't test you because they're cruel. They test you because they're wired to feel out your strength. A man without boundaries isn't a safe space. He's a soft space. And soft spaces get walked on, not walked with. When she challenges your values, your direction, or your authority, and you cave, she doesn't feel loved. She feels unsafe. A man who can't protect his own dignity can't protect a woman. So how do you reverse this? How do you start building that silent respect that makes her eyes soften and her voice calm down when she speaks to you? You create consequence without chaos. You become the man who never shouts, never begs, never explains, but also never tolerates being disrespected, not even once. Let me give you the blueprint. First, recognize disrespect in all its forms. It's not just yelling or name-calling. It's when she interrupts you constantly. It's when she mocks your goals. It's when she talks about her ex in front of you to provoke a reaction. It's when she's always texting other men and calls you insecure for questioning it. It's when she gives you silent treatment instead of mature communication. All of these are micro hits to your soul. Second, correct it once, directly, calmly, without emotion. Example: don't speak to me that way again. If it happens again, I'm done. You don't repeat yourself. You don't argue. If it happens again, you leave. No games, no rage, just clarity. When you do this, 2 things happen. She either levels up or walks away. And if she walks away, good. That's one less parasite draining your energy. That's one step closer to becoming the man who commands respect from the world, not just women. This isn't just about dating. This is about how you move through life, your boss, your friends, your family. How you let people treat you is how they decide your worth. You must start standing firm in your standards, not out of ego, but out of survival. A man with no boundaries gets exhausted, he burns out, he resents everyone, and in the end, he either explodes or breaks. But a man who honors himself becomes solid. He becomes focused. He builds a life that is so deeply aligned with who he is that only those who respect him can enter it. That's not arrogance, that's evolution. Practically, this means doing what 99% of men won't do. If she flakes on you, don't chase. If she mocks your values, don't explain. If she tests you with drama, don't react. You set the standard. You leave the table when disrespect is served. Not once, every time. And if she wants to earn her way back into your presence, she'll do it through consistent behavior, not apologies. Never let your emotions override your execution. You are either training her to respect you or to run circles around you. Now you might be wondering, how do I stay strong when I feel attached to her? How do I not fold when I miss her, or when she's the only woman I've ever loved? Here's the hard truth. If you're addicted to her attention, it means you're not building anything in your own life worth being addicted to. Redirect your obsession. Pour it into building your body, because a strong body leads to a strong mind. Wake up earlier than you want to. Go run when your mind says rest. Lift until your arms are numb. That pain becomes power. That power becomes discipline. That discipline becomes clarity. Start that business you've been thinking about for years. Build something that doesn't depend on anyone's approval. Learn a new skill that makes you valuable, not just to women, but to the world. Stop scrolling for dopamine hits and start creating. Write, building, move, be alone. Not as a victim, but as a warrior sharpening his edge. Read, study. Take cold showers not for the trend, but to remind yourself that you choose discomfort because you control your world now. Clean your room. Organize your finances. Cut off weak friends. Stop going to places where people drain your energy. Create a personal code and follow it with religious precision. When you stop tolerating disrespect from her, you also stop tolerating mediocrity in yourself. And that transformation? That's when you no longer need respect. You command it. People feel it. Your presence changes a room. Your eyes speak before your mouth does. You become the man others either fear or admire, but never ignore. And one day, the same woman who used to play games with you will see you again, and she won't even recognize you. You won't have to say a word. She'll know. She'll feel it. She'll sense she lost access to something she'll never touch again, and that will haunt her more than anything you could ever say. That's how you rise. That's how you become unshakable. By drawing a line and standing behind it, alone if needed, firm forever. Start now. Your time isn't infinite. Every second you tolerate disrespect is a second you delay your greatness. Don't wait for rock bottom. Build your foundation now, and never, ever reward disrespect again. Number 2, guard your peace. If there is one thing that will define the rest of your life as a man, it is this. Peace is not something you stumble into. It's something you defend like your life depends on it, because it does. The man who lacks peace is the man who wakes up every day on edge, pulled in 1,000 directions, reacting to everything, in survival mode. He's not living, he's performing. For women, for friends, for family, for people who couldn't care less if he crumbled tomorrow. There comes a time when a man must realize that his peace is his power. Not money, not cars, not status, not women, not clout. Peace. Because peace is the state where your decisions are no longer reactive, they're chosen. It's the state where you don't jump at insults, don't explain yourself to doubters, don't get rattled by someone walking out, and don't chase validation that costs your soul. Peace is the ultimate flex, and it's invisible. You walk into rooms and people feel it. You speak and others listen, not because you shout, but because your silence means something. But most men don't guard their peace, they leak it. Every text they respond to instantly, every argument they step into, every chaotic person they tolerate, every favor they say yes to out of guilt, every late-night conversation with a woman who never respected them in daylight, every moment spent explaining their worth is a leak, and over time, it drains them dry. Until all that's left is a hollow man wearing the mask of someone who used to dream. You cannot build an empire with a chaotic mind. You cannot lead a relationship with an anxious soul. You cannot earn respect when you are constantly seeking relief from others because you never gave yourself peace. And women, they feel it instantly. They can tell when your attention is scattered, when your time isn't sacred, when your space has no discipline, when your schedule is open to whatever mood she's in that day. That doesn't make her love you more. That makes her feel like she's steering the ship, and no woman respects a man who needs to be led. So what does it mean to guard your peace? It means becoming unavailable to chaos, not as a defense mechanism, but as a conscious design of your life. It means looking at every input, your phone, your relationships, your habits, your calendar, and asking, does this protect or poison my peace? If it poisons it, it goes immediately. No second chances, no dramatic exits, just gone. You don't argue anymore, because arguments require you to prove yourself, and men at peace don't explain themselves to chaos. You don't chase anymore, because chasing pulls you out of presence. You don't scroll endlessly, because every scroll is a decision to numb instead of build. You don't sleep in, because sleeping in is a signal to your soul that your life isn't urgent. You don't talk to everyone, because access to you is sacred. Peace is also boundaries without explanations. You say no, and that's it. You leave texts unanswered if they come from people who never gave you peace. You stop attending gatherings where gossip is the main currency. You let people call you arrogant or cold because they used to feed on your availability. Let them miss you. Let them wonder what changed. Let them talk. Because while they're talking, you're building something solid. A life where you choose who enters. Not a life where you're trying to be liked by everyone who doesn't even like themselves. You wake up early not because it's trendy, but because those hours before the world wakes up are your fortress. You read not because it makes you look smart, but because it reminds you how small your problems are. You take walks alone, not out of loneliness, but because peace walks with the man who can be alone without being lonely. You train your body, not for six-pack validation, but because physical discipline is spiritual war. And you keep your space clean, not to impress a date, but because chaos cannot survive where order lives. Peace is power, because the man who owns his mind owns his world. The man who cannot be lured into arguments, chaos, drama, guilt, urgency, or distraction is a man who is untouchable. That's what women want but can never explain. That's what employers trust. That's what friends respect. And that's what other men look at and think, he's different. You have to understand that when a woman creates emotional noise, she's not doing it to destroy you. She's doing it to find your edges, to know if your world bends when she leans too hard. When she starts a fight out of nowhere, asks loaded questions, pulls away to see how you react, she's not trying to hurt you. She's trying to find your core. And if every time she pokes you, you jump, there is no core, just reaction. But if you sit back, stay calm, hold the silence longer than her confusion, and respond only when you choose to, you don't just guard your peace, you announce that it's non-negotiable. Eventually, she either adapts to your frequency or she exits your life, and both are wins. Because the moment you start giving up your peace to keep someone around is the moment you lose yourself. And if you lose yourself, There's no point in being loved because the man she loves is gone. What's the point of love if it requires your soul as collateral? You want to change your life? Then build a peace so strong it offends people who live in chaos. A peace so real that you no longer flinch when people say you've changed. A peace that pulls the right people in and pushes the wrong ones out. And the irony, when you live this way, everything you used to chase, validation, love, attention, respect, starts chasing you. Because now, you're the rare man, the one who doesn't need the world to see him to feel whole. That peace will heal you. It will sharpen your decisions. It will reveal your real friends. It will teach you how to love without losing yourself. And it will build a foundation that no setback, no woman, no betrayal, no loss can shake. Guard it like gold, because it is. And once you own it, you'll never trade it for chaos again. Number 3, don't share too much. She doesn't want to know everything about you, even if she says she does. She wants to feel your depth, not dive into it every day. She wants to discover you, not carry you. And the moment you open the door to every emotion, every doubt, every wound, every overthought dream, you become something she wasn't ready for, her project. And women don't fall in love with projects. They fall in love with men who know how to carry their own weight, speak when it matters, and withhold enough to remain magnetic. You've been told your whole life to open up, to be vulnerable, to share more. But let's be honest, how did that serve you? Did she pull you closer when you confessed your anxieties? Did she admire you more when you cried over life's unfairness? Or did something shift in her eyes, subtle, unspoken, where she began to see you not as her protector, but as her emotional equal? And while that sounds noble, the reality is this. When you put your emotional world on her shoulders, she might comfort you, but she no longer craves you. There is a sacred distance that preserves the polarity between a man and a woman. Not dishonesty, not coldness. Distance, the space between what she thinks you are and what she still doesn't fully know. That mystery, it's the fire. It's what keeps her intrigued. It's what keeps her guessing. It's what separates you from every other man who spills himself out on day 3 hoping it'll make her stay. And when you kill the mystery, you kill the tension. And when the tension dies, so does desire. It's not that you shouldn't have emotions. You're not a machine. You bleed. You struggle. You doubt. But the difference between a respected man and a tolerated man is how he carries those emotions. A respected man feels deeply, but moves intentionally. He never lets his pain become someone else's responsibility. He doesn't weaponize his story for sympathy. He doesn't collapse under the weight of his past. He integrates it, quietly, steadily, alone, if he must. When you share everything too soon, you create emotional clutter. She doesn't know what to do with all of it. It overwhelms her, and instead of feeling close, she starts feeling smothered. Instead of respecting your openness, she questions your stability. And instead of leaning in, she pulls away. Not because she's cruel, but because instinctively, she wants to lean on you, not become your savior. There's a reason the most respected men you know rarely speak about themselves. They give glimpses, not blueprints. They offer presence, not explanations. And they never chase connection through confession. They don't talk to be understood. They act to be respected. And that respect creates intimacy far deeper than anything words could offer. You want to change your life? Start treating your story like a treasure chest, not a brochure. Let her earn access to you over time. Let her wonder what drives you. Let her feel the silence and choose to lean closer. When she asks questions, answer just enough to make her lean in further. You're not hiding. You're preserving polarity. You're cultivating depth. You're building intrigue. the fuel that keeps attraction alive long after the honeymoon ends. Most men mistake talking for connection. They think if she knows everything, she'll never leave, but the opposite is true. She doesn't leave because she doesn't know enough. She leaves because you gave her everything up front, and there was nothing left to pursue. She stops seeing you as a challenge. She starts seeing you as predictable. And predictability is the enemy of attraction. This isn't about manipulation. This is about mastery, emotional mastery, strategic vulnerability, the kind of openness that comes with control. Not bottling up, but not bleeding out either. You speak your truth when it's time, not when you're uncomfortable. You share your struggle when it serves the mission, not when you crave a shoulder. You reveal your heart in doses that amplify your strength, not replace it. You also stop trying to be relatable, because in your attempt to be understood, you soften the very edge that made her look at you differently. You don't need to always relate. You need to radiate. You need to hold your ground when she disagrees. You need to be okay with her not getting you right away. That's what builds tension. That's what keeps her chasing. Your peace is not a group project. Your mission is not a team effort. Your vision is not up for debate. When you share it too freely, it gets diluted. When you overshare your insecurities, they become weapons in the wrong hands. When you speak every time you feel something, you become a speaker, not a leader. Instead, practice the power of presence. Sit with your pain. Journal your thoughts. Take your confusion to action. Build a fortress around your emotional world so strong that only those who earn it can enter. And when they do, you don't drown them in emotion. You invite them to witness your resilience. You don't offload, you reveal. You don't break down, you open up, like a sunrise, slow, intentional, beautiful, and earned. That's how you become unforgettable. Not by how much you shared, but by how much you carried without making her carry it with you. And the more you do this, the more magnetic you become. Because now you're rare. You're not just a man with a story, you're a man with a center. A man who doesn't just survive life. He navigates it with calm, with mystery, with the quiet strength of someone who knows who he is and doesn't need the world to validate it. This is how you keep her attention. This is how you keep your edge. This is how you stay respected, not just in relationships, but in every room you enter. Number 4, no emotional reactivity. Control is not the absence of emotion, it's the presence of mastery. A man who cannot be moved emotionally at will by someone else is a man who has begun to understand the roots of his strength. Not because he doesn't feel, but because he's no longer enslaved by what he feels in the moment. The world wants you reactive. Women test for reactivity. Weak men live in reactivity. The man who becomes still in storms, that's the man who dominates silently. You've seen it play out. She throws a curveball. Maybe it's a sudden shift in tone, a comment laced with sarcasm, an unexplained withdrawal of attention, and immediately your stomach drops. Your mind spins. Your words chase hers like wind trying to hold on to water. That, right there, is emotional reactivity. It's when your inner world is at the mercy of her external behavior. And once she feels she has that kind of power over you, the dynamic begins to rot, slowly, deeply, permanently. This isn't about being cold. This is about being sovereign, emotionally sovereign. The ability to feel fully without being ruled by what you feel. The kind of man who can stand in front of a woman testing his limits, a boss questioning his value, or a stranger disrespecting him, and not be moved from his frame. You don't need to lash out, explain, or plead. You need to remain rooted, unshaken, present, powerful without noise. Women test for this because it tells them if you're real, if you're stable, if your strength is situational or foundational. And when you pass that test, she doesn't just relax, she melts. Because in a world of men who fold, the man who doesn't blink is a revelation. But you can't fake this. You can't mimic calm while boiling underneath. It starts deeper, with owning your triggers, facing the parts of you that flinch when someone disapproves, that panic when someone pulls away, that rush to defend when someone questions your motives. You look those parts in the eye and say, you don't lead anymore. You become aware of your impulses, and instead of obeying them, you observe them. That space, the space between stimulus and response, that's where kings are born. This practice transforms you. You start seeing what others miss. You start hearing what's behind her words instead of reacting to the words themselves. You stop needing the last word. You stop defending your character to people who aren't even qualified to judge it. You start living like your attention is gold, because it is. And if someone wants access to it, they better come correct. This also changes how people respond to you. The ones who used to provoke you get frustrated because they can't move you anymore. They start questioning their own approach, and the ones who respect strength start gravitating toward you. Because calm attracts clarity, and clarity attracts everything chaos repels. You'll notice you talk less, you move slower, you observe more, you wait, you study. You no longer react to her changing moods, her silence, her indirectness. You understand her emotions are hers, and if you can be the container for her waves without drowning in them, she will trust you more than any man she's ever known. Not because you saved her, but because you didn't lose yourself in trying to. And in life, this is the superpower that will elevate you above most men. Because most men are slaves to emotion, camouflaged as passion. They fight battles that don't matter. They burn bridges because their ego was bruised. They chase arguments to defend fragile pride. But you exit chaos like it's beneath you, because it is. You don't get pulled in. You walk around it, above it, through it, without contact. You'll walk into a meeting where your idea is questioned, and you'll smile. You'll have a friend betray you, and instead of retaliating, you'll disappear, like oxygen from fire. You'll hear rumors about you and say nothing, because truth doesn't panic. You'll be ghosted, rejected, overlooked, and you won't crumble. You'll rise, quietly, with purpose. No emotional reactivity means you stop handing over the steering wheel of your life every time you feel something. You start choosing your direction with discipline, and that discipline, it builds your kingdom, one boundary at a time. Number 5, always be willing to walk away. Too many men stay in jobs that drain them, in relationships that emasculate them, in friendships that disrespect them. They stay because they're afraid of being alone, afraid of starting over, afraid of what the world might think. So they shrink, they smile, they say, it's not that bad. And slowly they become invisible, not just to others, to themselves. But the man who is willing to walk away from anything that insults his soul, that man is terrifying. That man is magnetic, because he doesn't stay for comfort. He stays because it aligns with his standard. And the moment it doesn't, he's gone. This applies especially in relationships. Women sense it. They know when you're staying because you're addicted to her presence versus when you're staying because she brings peace, growth, and purpose into your world. The first kind of man gets tested relentlessly. The second kind, she watches herself around. She brings her best, because she knows you'll leave the second she stops respecting what you bring to the table. Walking away doesn't mean being heartless. It means being loyal to yourself above all. It means saying, I love you, but I love my values more. I love my peace more. I love the man I'm becoming more. That kind of detachment isn't cold, it's divine. It frees you from begging for crumbs. It elevates your circle. It purifies your space. It reminds you that nothing is worth keeping if it costs your identity. And when you live like this, people rise to your level or they exit. There is no middle. And that's the point. Your standard becomes the filter. And over time, everything left in your life reflects who you are at your highest, not your most fearful. You must become so secure in your self-worth that you can walk away from pleasure, comfort, attention, validation, and even love if it means protecting your mission. That's when you're truly dangerous, not to others, to mediocrity, to codependence, to anything that tries to cage you. And here's what most won't tell you. The real growth happens after you walk. The strength, the clarity, the expansion. It doesn't come while you're holding on. It comes in the silence that follows your final step away. In that space, you meet the next version of yourself. The one who no longer tolerates chaos for company. The one who no longer begs. The one who no longer stays just to feel needed. Be willing to walk away from anything that makes you forget who you are, and once you are, you'll never beg, chase, or tolerate disrespect again. The moment you choose self-respect over comfort, your life begins. Not just your relationship, not just your confidence, your entire life. The man you were is gone, and the man you're becoming. He doesn't chase approval. He builds standards. He doesn't fold under pressure. He sharpens in silence. He doesn't seek to be understood. He seeks to be undeniable. You were never meant to live on your knees for love, attention, or acceptance. You were meant to walk in power, quietly, calmly, with the unshakable knowledge that respect is not something you demand, it's something you design. If you felt that shift deep in your core, then don't let it fade. Lock it in. This isn't the end. This is the start of a new era for you. A version of you that no longer tolerates being less than he was born to be. If this message struck something deep inside you, if it reminded you of the man you were always supposed to become, then subscribe to the channel. Share this video with a friend. Comment below, I choose respect over validation. Because when you support this movement, you don't just help this channel grow. You help another man finally hear what no one ever told him.
you